In today's video, we're gonna go check out some creepy TikTok conspiracies. Let's get into it.
There's this very interesting theory about the millennial reign of Jesus. It's this time when Jesus will come down to earth and rule for 1,000 years. But in this theory, this 1,000 years has already happened. You see, many people actually believe that Jesus already came back and ruled here on the earth. But here's my only question. If this glorious kingdom really happened in the past, then wouldn't we see evidence of this, like, everywhere? Well, there is this other theory called the Tartarian mud flood. It's this legend of this ancient, advanced empire that stretched across the entire world until one day this empire just vanishes and Tartaria becomes nothing but this old, forgotten myth. But this actually gets much, much weirder, because recently people have been pointing out something very interesting about our own cities. You see, a lot of these buildings are really just sitting on much older constructions. Of course, this is no secret, but I have to agree that these buildings do seem like they're covering up some kind of history. Okay, now stay with me, because in 1851, there was this new thing going around called World Expos. And different countries all around the world were building these massive constructions just to host these World Expos. And you gotta understand that millions of people attended these things. But what is just absolutely confusing is that right after the event, everything would be destroyed. All of these beautiful, supposedly new buildings from 1851 to about the 1930s, almost every single one of them was completely destroyed. But this is what these World Expos look like. This is Philadelphia in 1876. This is Chicago in 1893. This is St. Louis in Missouri. This is 1904. These buildings kind of look like ancient Roman-style buildings. And again, they were all destroyed. See, it's almost as if they're trying to remove the evidence of an empire that stretched across the entire world. A lost empire that would completely throw off our history. Some people even think that is what World War I and II was all about. Just clearing the slate so they could rewrite the timeline. Now, this really is nothing but a theory. But I do have just one more curious question. You see, the Bible says that after this 1,000 years, Satan will be released to deceive the world just one last time. And if we are in that time now, then what kind of lies would the devil have told us?
I'm starting to dig a little bit more into Tartaria stuff because it is really interesting and I'm very curious about what we covered up if that's the case. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on all this.
Did anybody else know that they built the entire Empire State Building in 1 year? In the 1930s. And I'm not just talking about the exterior, I'm talking about the interior. The whole building was finished. Plumbing, electrical, elevators. What's crazier is if you exclude the interior work, they actually finished the building a lot faster than that. Because if you look here, construction started on March 17th, 1930, and the building was topped out by the 19th of September, 102 floors in 7 months. If I was asked this question on a game show, I would have got it so wrong. I would have said like 15 years. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because yesterday was the 93rd birthday of the Empire State Building, and they brought this fact up, and I could not believe it. Then my second thought was, well, if they built that building that quickly, a lot of people must have been dropping out, if you get what I'm saying, because safety back then was not great. And that was another surprise to me, because according to Google, only 5 workers lost their life during the construction of the building. But there is a bit of an asterisk there. As you can see on this bottom portion, it says there are many unofficial accounts that point to higher numbers. And I also believe that that number was way higher than 5, because record keeping in the 1930s and 20s probably wasn't the best. Like, people just straight up disappeared back then. If you didn't like your wife anymore, you could just tell everybody she went on vacation, you know, and that was it.
Dang, to build that whole building in less than a year, that's pretty crazy. It's not out of the realm of possibility. We do things very similar now, but that's pretty intense. I guarantee you that there was a lot of very hardworking individuals during that process. But yeah, that's pretty bizarre. I bet you there was probably more than 5 fatal injuries that happened on that job site. Hey, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. I only ask once per video and I make a video like this almost every day. And to everyone that's subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for being a part of the channel. And for the people that are not subscribed, I still appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you for watching. And don't forget, if you want to be a part of Question for DK, where I answer personal questions, questions about conspiracy theories or theories in general, leave a comment starting with Question for DK so that I can find it in the YouTube search results and answer that question in a future video.
In 2023, do we still think that Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity flying a kite with a key attached to it? Because that is the most absurd thing that I've heard in a while. So here's our history lesson that we all learned in school. In the year 1752, Benjamin Franklin conducted what would become the most well-known experiment, flying a kite into a thunderstorm to demonstrate that lightning is a type of electricity. This seemingly simple act would ultimately help to establish a crucial connection between lightning and electricity, opening the door to numerous future discoveries and advancements in the field. That's so cute that they taught us that. This man with a kite and a key getting electrocuted by lightning. That's so funny, isn't it? And just to the people that commented on my last video about the Statue of Liberty, as if I don't know that that's a giant metal conductor of electricity. I'm trying not to state the obvious. If Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity with a kite with a key attached to it, then how come when you look it up, it says right online that the Tartarian Empire harnessed energy from the ether in the atmosphere and they used it for electricity. So that's interesting, but that's not the story we get. We also don't get any stories of Tartarian empires or Tartaria at all. A lot of people have never heard of it because we weren't ever taught of it. For people that have never heard of Tartarians or Tartaria or Tartary, look it up. It is an empire that we were never taught about that seems to be removed from our history entirely. But there are plenty of old maps. There are so much stuff. I mean, there's old art, there's old photos even, because I believe this empire was completely squashed out, probably closer towards the mid-1800s is when they really got rid of them. And I think World War II, part of that was about removing whatever was left over of that empire. But there's so much evidence out there. It's really unbelievable. Look into it. Tartarian Empire. On Rumble, there are lots of good videos on the timeline deception and the Tartarian Empire. Hit follow. I love you all. This is for your entertainment.
I don't know if it's claimed that Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity that way. He was just announcing that lightning was a type of electricity, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I thought it was, and I always thought that was silly as well. There's no way that that individual had a kite with a key on it and he got electrocuted by lightning just to prove a point. I feel like there was other measurements that went, and that's just the story that fell along with it. But I wouldn't doubt that if there was a civilization of the past, they were using ether energy. I do believe that you can gather energy from the sky. I still have yet to test this theory, but I would really like to one day when I have way more free time and more financial freedom as well. I will test this stuff out.
The construction video. Did you see that? It's trending on TikTok right now. So there was a guy on a construction site that was working on moving like, you know, those big wheels, those wooden wheels?
Yeah.
It's like a big wheel, a wooden wheel that you kind of like roll around. I think it's for cable, and you need like at least 3 people to move it.
Yeah.
So there was a guy on site that offered him help. So the guy's like, okay, let's just move it over here to where it's supposed to be. Guy helps, and they're moving it, they're rolling it, and they turn this corner. And as soon as the guy moves it into place, the guy that was helping him disappeared.
Oh shit.
The guy's like asking the other guy, oh, did you see the guy that was helping me?
So who's helping him?
Yeah. And the guy asked the coworker, yo, did you see who was helping me? He's like, fam, no one was helping you.
Oh fuck.
The only way the wheel would even move.
It's impossible to do by yourself.
Exactly. So they all chilled in the office where like they eat lunch.
Yeah.
And there's a picture, a worker there. And the guy's like, that's the guy who helped me. You know what the other coworker says?
Yeah.
He's like, fam, that guy, it's 2020. That guy's been dead since 2015.
Damn.
And in the footage, like, you know how like when you're talking to someone, you like kind of command them,
Yeah.
move it a bit this way, move it a bit that way.
Pay attention to the video. The ghost helped him pushing the big wheel cable roll.
That's pretty crazy. And I don't know if that last portion of the video was the real video of the spool coming towards him and he stopped it, but he was definitely gesturing as if someone was helping him. I think that that is scary in a way because that's a very dangerous, large spool of wire. If that thing was to just continuously roll and there's no one there to help you stop it, that could easily crush you. So it just makes me wonder, did this guy really have a construction worker ghost help him? Because if so, that's pretty awesome. And for the supervisor of that job site has to really enjoy having free ghost labor because that's pretty impressive. It also makes me wonder, if that was a ghost, why is he just staying there on the construction site? Why is he not moving on? You know, like, what's the reason he's just staying there, to help people?
I'm confused. I'm going to raise my left leg, but my reflection is showing my right leg lifted up. But when I turn around and I keep my left leg raised up, my reflection is showing my left leg raised up. Huh? I'm raising my left leg in real life, which is my right leg in the reflection. But then when I turn around like this, my left leg is still raised and my reflection is showing my left leg raised. How do mirrors work? Is this an opposite reflection when I'm looking, but when I'm not looking, it reflects it correctly? From the side, I raise my left leg, and her left leg is raised.
Looking in a mirror, and if you lift up your left leg, the reflection is going to show you lifting up your left leg. I don't get it. This was a confusing video to me. Am I missing something? Or is this lady onto something that I'm completely unaware of?
You really believe the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour? You sure? You're sure when you look out a plane window and everything looks completely still that it's actually moving 1,000 miles per hour? Well, maybe you think it's because a plane doesn't get high enough, but this was 25 miles up and nothing's moving. And when you ask the internet, at what height can I see the Earth rotating? It says there isn't one. It's not a question of height. The Earth only turns once a day, so it's so slow you can't see it. Or Earth spins much too slowly for its rotation to be visible from anywhere in real time. Well, that's funny, because it sure looks like it's spinning pretty fast for first ever Russian astronaut spacewalker Alexei Leonov. And it sure looks like, even though the astronaut Ed White is in slow motion, that the Earth is spinning pretty fast. But the Earth must have been feeling a little lazy this day because it seems to have slowed down for the next spacewalk. And not only does the Earth decide to have different speeds on different days based on its laziness factor, but it also decides to change its rate of curve.
There it is. 70,000 feet. This is madness. Is there anybody else up here? Presumably not. So I think it's fair to say the only people higher than us at the moment are the people in the International Space Station. That's correct.
So they were supposedly 70,000 feet, which is only 13 miles high. And the International Space Station is supposedly at 254 miles high. Let's look at this. Okay, so this was 70,000 feet or 13 miles in the International Space Station at 250 miles. Something doesn't seem right. And then the first ever U.S. spacewalk at 100 miles. And then Felix Baumgartner at 25 miles for the highest space jump. Do you guys see the inconsistencies here? If you don't, it's because you're choosing not to. You know what doesn't have inconsistencies? Truth. You know what does? Lies. I mean, this is supposedly a real image, guys. Look at this. It's a painting. It's literally a painting. It's time to stop believing in this and start realizing you live in God's created little realm here. He made it just for you. And you guys already know, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is just for entertainment purposes. I'm just here to make you guys laugh. Of course, yeah, I live up there on this perfect looking globe picture taken from outer space. And last thing, guys, I love to answer questions. I really do, but I get so many a day I can't get to all of them. So if you have questions and you can't find it on TikTok, go to flatearthdave.com or go to the App Store and download this thing. It's amazing. You literally type in the search bar and you'll get the answer to anything you want from actual people who have studied and researched this and aren't trying to deceive you. Use my code FITFLAT, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.
To be honest, physics aren't for me. I'm not a rocket engineer, I'm not a rocket scientist, so I really do not know physics, but it has always made me question, if we're spinning so fast, how come nothing seems to be moving if we are literally spinning 1,000 miles an hour? And I guess the best way it was explained to me was you take a bucket of water and you spin it around in a big circle, the water stays in the bucket, and we're kind of like the water in the bucket. The planet's spinning so fast and we're just planted to the planet because of that reason. Again, I'm not a scientist or anything, so I really don't know, and it is a very baffling thing to me as well, and especially seeing those videos, even though I do not believe anything NASA really has to say or show. I would love to see the planet with my own eyes. If we ever get the ability to go to space and actually look at the Earth, I definitely want to take that trip because I want to see all of the Earth in its glory spinning and just see its roundness or flatness because I just don't know and I would love to know.
Remember how I told you there was a PDF document about the Vatican and all the secrets that it was hiding? I finally finished reading all 461 pages of it, and I even came across a declassified CIA document about the Vatican as well. That's right, I'm doing part 8 of Secrets of the Vatican. Go get your blankets. The Vatican is known to have some crazy stuff hidden in it as well as underneath in their archives, but some of the stuff that I read in the document, most people don't even know about. Maybe 3 more secret facts about the Vatican that no one knows about, but before I do, I want to throw in one interesting tidbit that I read in this declassified CIA document, and it was that the Vatican actually had a central intelligence agency. There are real documents about what they did with the CIA because the CIA, for them, abbreviation stands for the Christian Intelligence Agency. Figured this out by sending in a spy to the Vatican to figure out what the Christian Intelligence Agency was. I can do more on that, but let's get into these 3 facts about the Vatican. The amount of Egyptian relics and artifacts that are hidden at the Vatican in the archives as well as at the Vatican on display are absolutely insane. But there is one thing that stands out to me the most that you can go see part of, but you can't see the actual document. Not only do they have multiple dead mummies from ancient Egypt, they also have this very interesting statue of Osiris on display. And why it's so interesting is because it used to hold the Egyptian Book of the Dead. This wooden statue of Osiris, who is the god of death, was used as a container for the papyri from the Book of the Dead, and they haven't even restored it yet, but they do have the exact statue where the Book of the Dead was concealed. If you know anything about the Vatican, then you should know that that Book of the Dead is actually in the Vatican archives because they're lying. They keep the statue of the Book of the Dead or the statue of Osiris on display, but where is the actual book? I 100% believe that it is actually in the Vatican archives. But let's get to the next fact. Just a little side note, out of all the Egyptian artifacts that they have besides the Book of the Dead, if you look here, the statue where the Book of the Dead would be, they also have live mummies. They have mummies, Egyptian mummies. Why do they have Egyptian mummies? Who cares? Who knows? It's creepy. The Vatican actually has this book that contains the theory of Horus. This ancient Egyptian book also sounds very similar to the story of Jesus in the manger in the Bible, and this is the reason why the Vatican has not allowed anyone to read it. Remember how I told you the Vatican completely changed the Bible and took hidden books out of it? This book may contribute to what Catholicism changed into the story of Jesus. His story was about an Egyptian god, and he was conceived by a virgin mother named Mary, M-E-R-I, and had a stepfather named Seb or Joseph. And he was born in a cave, and his birth announced by an angel and by a star and attended by shepherds, and attended a special rite of passage at the age of 12, and there was no data of the child from the age of 12 to 30. Then it is said that he was baptized in a river at the age of 30 and was baptized and later beheaded. This is where he got a new head and became a god. He had 12 disciples and he performed miracles. He exorcised demons. He raised someone from the dead and even walked on water. He was called Lusa, the ever-becoming Son, and the Holy Child. He delivered a sermon on the Mount, and his followers recounted his sayings, and he was transfigured on the Mount, and he was crucified between two thieves, buried for 3 days in a tomb, and was resurrected and called Way, the truth of the light, Messiah, God's anointed Son, Son of Man, Good Shepherd, Lamb of God, Word made flesh, or Word of truth. And he was the fisher and was associated with the fish, lamb, and lion, and he came to fulfill the law that was supposed to reign 1,000 years. And do you guys know that we don't have an account from Jesus from the ages 12 all the way to 30? There's no biblical record. Does this story not sound similar to God in the manger and his virgin mother Mary, Mary? Food for thought. And the final secret is that there is something called a papal tiara that has stolen jewels. But not least, we have the papal tiara, or the crown that the popes use. Said that the papal crown actually contains stolen jewels, as it is decorated with 6 rolls of 90 pearls, as well as 16 rubies, 3 emeralds, a hyacinth, an aquamarine, 3 rubies, a sapphire, and 8 gold points, with 5 garnets and 2 balas rubies. It has 10 emeralds, 8 balas rubies, 1 chrysolite, 2 aquamarines, 6 small rubies, and 3 sapphires. And all of them are stolen. It is said that the real origins of those rubies are kept locked away, but they were stolen, some from Egypt and some from the French. The world may never know. Thank you for coming back to another episode of That's Insane with Aja, and I'll tell you more about the Vatican.
I'm recording it too, Dad. Wow.
What you looking for, Derek? This is the connection I told you over Easter had changed.
It looks good on the phone too.
New phase, which is fixing to get more incredible, and we're going to blow the whole freaking world away. Watch. That's like a freaking triangle. Look at it. Can you see it, Ryan? It's a triangle. It's got something behind it.
Oh wow, yeah. Man.
That's really weird, whatever it is. It's got a little thing behind it. You see that?
Yeah.
Like something red sticking out behind it. No contrail, no sound.
It's not blinking. No.
Nothing. It's a weird
moving.
orb.
That was very weird.
I'm filming it still.
I'm watching it too. Wow.
Yeah. Then it came from the ocean, from the east.
The airport's not even that way.
The airport's that way.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty good minute since I seen a video from Chris Bledsoe. I'm extremely interested in all of the videos that this individual shows. He's got some of the best UFO sightings out there on the internet, I personally think, as far as no cuts, everything's in the sky, it comes as he asks and it goes away. He's got really good content. My biggest problem though is this individual is pretty important into the UFO sighting community, and I just wish that he would invest in getting proper video recording technology, something that can zoom in extremely close, something that's extremely high quality. For someone that has so many interactions with UFO sightings and is always contacted by these beings, you would just think that being that this individual has so many sightings and he gets contacted by extraterrestrials all the time, that he would have better technology for catching these sightings and phenomenon. I would love to see this stuff in 4K. He would have the absolute best content if we could see this in 4 to 8K, because he's got really good stuff on here. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode. As always, if you found any of these clips interesting, links are in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day.